Why, hello there, and how are you doing this fine day? I do so hope that you know where you are and you're here for a reason. If not, welcome. I'm doing knife reviews, and if you consider liking and subscribing, commenting, or whatever, anything really, I greatly appreciate it. I'm hoping to bring more knife reviews in the future and continue on what I'm doing here. So as you can see, this is a review of a Francois de Toit. Yeah, I believe it's South African. In fact, I know it's South African. Why am I saying believe? I know these things. I do. Handcrafted knives. This is the TF-4 flipper in somewhat of a fancy pattern. Somewhat of a very fancy pattern. What are we looking at here? We're looking at a flipper in polished, deep-etched damasteel with a mirror on it. I mean, it's basically almost all a mirror. It's just the damasteel pattern blocks it, which is why I'm showing you, oh, my face. Oh, look at that. Wait, is that my face? I don't even know. Doesn't matter. Damascus bolsters on both sides. A white linen micarta scale, Damascus pivot, and damasteel backspacer. This is a liner lock, and it is a flipper. I believe this model also gets made in occasionally a front flipper. And yeah, it's pretty darn precision for a custom knife. And this is a custom knife, be no mistake. This is an expensive knife, and is most certainly not for everybody. But as an enthusiast, a collector, and someone who just absolutely finds this gorgeous, I couldn't resist. Could not resist. It hurts, but I couldn't do it. Couldn't pass it up. So let's get into specs before we start talking about this knife further. It's a little over 3 3/8, but under 3.5. So let's call that 3.4, 3.42-ish inches on blade length. Got about 8 1/8 overall, and about maybe just shy of 4 3/4 on the handle length. We'll do our comparisons with our trusty comparison knives. Resident knives, for anybody who's new. I use these all the time as comparisons, as they are pretty commonly both accessible and, well, this one's particularly well loved, the Elementum from Civivi. But this one is the Conspirator from Civivi that is just a good 3.5-inch medium-size, full-size knife, honestly. In fact, I consider medium-size a little bit smaller than a full-size. But 3.5 inches of blade on the dot, and 3 inches about on the Elementum. So, as you can pretty much see, this thing is almost 1-for-1 in size with the Conspirator. Tinyish bit more blade, but a tiny bit more handle too. One final comparison that I also do here is because not everybody knows what has every knife that can be used for a comparison, right? Now, if you don't have these, you don't have experience with them, you don't know. But almost everybody can get their hands on 2 AA batteries, and you have basically 2 AA batteries almost on the dot in grip space. And that's important because you want to know that you can actually hold your knife, right? That'll fit in your hands. That's one of the most important things. Let's move this off to the side, and we'll continue with specs. In fact, they can just sit there today. Hardware check. As is the case with most South African knives. In fact, France and South Africa particularly. Like, a lot of companies use T6, but South Africa and France, they love their T6s, and that is what this is. T6 all over. Everything, including the pivot. Now, I have taken this knife apart, so it's held up fine. That's a face. It has held up fine, and I had no issue with it. But just to be wary of their customs. They tend to almost always be T6, primarily. Weight is about 5 ounces, a little over that. There's no weight reduction inside this thing down in there, so you've got full titanium liners. So that's pretty expected. It's not the lightest thing, but, I mean, it's a custom. Who cares? Who cares? No one cares. Alright. Handle thickness. And this is actually contoured. I mean, that's pretty crazy. Awesome on a small custom-made knife. A little over half an inch, 0.517. Blade stock on our TF-4 is about 125 thousandths, give or take. And behind the edge of this, frankly, razor freaking sharp knife that feels... Yeah, that's gotta be a hollow grind. Yeah, that's a hollow grind. I didn't remember off the top of my head. It gets a little thicker at the tip. In fact, you can kind of see it shift in geometry a little bit if you're looking along there. At least you can in person. It's kind of hard to see on the camera, but it gives it an additional dimension of look, which is kind of nice. Behind the edge on this thing is razor thin at 9-10 thousandths behind the edge. Jeez. And like I said, it does get a little thicker up at the tip, so you got a little bit more strength at the tip. Also, look at that spine. Look at that. Just carries throughout the entire thing. Just you don't see that. That's a nice. That's a face again. At least you can't see that one. Of course, I may have already given away. Alright. I think that brings us to the end of our specifications section. So let's just talk about this thing. Starting with the blade. It's friggin' gorgeous. I mean, it's freaking gorgeous. FDT Customs up there on the flat, which I love to see. I don't like it on it's on the bevel. Minimal, I don't mind that being there. IKBS bearing system in there, marked. Oftentimes you see that mark on South African knives in particular, I've noticed. Though I don't have too many South African knives, I definitely would love to get more. They do some crazy, crazy good work for the price. Yes, it's expensive, but it's still crazy good work for the price. Flipper tab, wire jimping, looks like it's probably been put in by hand, honestly, followed it in there. The plunge grind, yeah, it's coming real close to the edge, but, I mean, again, who the hell cares? The stop pin on this thing is completely internal. In fact, it's so tight, you can barely see it, but it's down in there. There you go, that's it right there. You can kind of see it. I believe that's the stop pin. And if it's not, well, it's somewhere around there. Super tight in there, and it, you can always cut in a choil, but I mean, you're going to have some life. The plunge grind doesn't hit until back here, so you've definitely got life. Now, instead of trying to give my viewers and my camera a seizure by playing with that blade a little bit more, let's take a moment here to move on from the blade. Good flipper tab, good leverage, a little bit of cutout for an extra bit of room, smooth matchup with the tang and the front of the blade, I mean the front of the handle, very nice there. Absolutely stunning pivot collars, just Damasteel. This is just a nice extra level of, I guess that's Damasteel. It might just be Damascus, but I'm pretty sure it's all Damasteel, so just a nice extra level of beautiful, all surrounded by even more beautiful in this Damascus, which is, I don't know if it's a proprietary like blend, but it's got this smoky haziness to it that makes it look a little bit like out of focus, kind of. It's very unique, very cool, and exceptionally well done. I mean, the transitions are really good. You can feel them, but I mean, it's a hand fit, and barely like they feel good and so consistent across the entire thing. It's wonderful. This white micarta is smooth with just a little bit of a hard to describe texture. It's really interesting. It hasn't really broken in much because I haven't exactly been carrying this thing frequently. This is more of a dressy knife, but and guess what? I'm not super dressy, but it is stunning. I mean, just let's just enjoy that. That is an attractive freaking knife. The scales are here. There are, of course, smaller another layer of screws holding these layers together here. Words. Diamond steel backspacer. Beautiful. Long. Yes. Clip. Yeah, technically I don't like when clips ride the spine, but I gotta be honest with you. This one works. I don't know how he made it work, but he made it work. Like, you can feel it, but it's up here. Do I think it may have still be better just centered? Yes. But this one's not uncomfortable. It's not bad placement. It's just feels solid in the hand. I don't mind it whatsoever. In fact, it's super comfortable. That definitely often is not the case for clips that ride closer to the spine of the blade. You kind of want them centered, in my experience. Otherwise, they tend to be uncomfortable. This one also, while it's tight, it does have enough give to like easily give up to about here, and then it gets a little tight. So, not really a problem in thinner pants. Thicker pants in and out, maybe. But if this is your everyday carry in thick pants, well, lucky you. Lucky you. Lock bar axis is the only thing that's really like not amazingly done here. There is really no cutout lock bar axis. It is chamfered pretty heavily on one side. I kind of wish it was chamfered on the other side too. That I think would probably be fine, or make it a little bit better. Though I guess you could run the risk of having too thin of titanium on this side. Honestly, despite that though, like, you can't come from the side, but it does actually grab the skin of your finger, or at least mine, and go pretty well. Like, I gotta give it credit. It's a lot easier to get than it looks. It does feel tight, but it is a lot easier to get than it looks. And as you can see, the action is just, I mean, yes. The action is absolutely amazing. So, really, I mean, there's not a whole lot of more to go into here, because I'm not going to nitpick this knife. It doesn't even deserve to be nitpicked. I mean, yes, would I like the brilliant gun? Would I like this? Sure, on an ideal, perfect knife, there will be a few tweaks here, but it's a custom. It is perfect. It is what it's meant to be. You either like it or you don't. And in this case, this is by far amazing enough for me to say it's wonderful regardless. And, yeah, I'm gonna get lost in the blade. Better stop doing that. So, yeah, Francois du Toit is, I believe that's how you say it, hopefully. Pretty crazy, part of this Knife Makers Guild of South Africa, and his work is just phenomenal. Heck, even if I don't get more South African knives other than just more of his knives, I'd be happy. But first, we gotta get money. Gotta get more money. That's always the problem, isn't it? But this thing is freaking amazing. And I love this knife, and I am so happy and grateful that I was able to get this thing, and it is centered. it is just magnificent. Just one final look at that Damasteel. And you can even see the pattern a little bit there, but it's such a mirror that it actually... I can't pick it up on camera, actually. Wait. There you go. You can kind of see a little bit of that pattern coming through on the camera. There it is. It's mirrored, but you can still see the pattern, which is cool. Oh, and the internal liners seem to be like kind of jeweled a little, which is also nice. Nice touch. Unnecessary, but nice touch. Yeah, I love this thing, and if his work is even remotely consistent to this, I would wholeheartedly say that this is a custom you should pursue if you want to. But a variant of this knife, maybe not exact. I don't know if he does repeat exact knives, but there is his. Well, that's actually his Gmail. Well, we put it on the thing, so I mean, you probably can message him to get customs. But you can also find him, I believe, on Instagram and such. And if you're looking for a custom that's, weirdly enough, absolutely freaking amazing, but not bank-breaking for a custom, South Africa. Definitely. I mean, yes, this thing was decently over $1,000. It was. But you saw it. The details, the levels of execution and stuff. Yeah, this is like a $2,000 to $3,000 knife coming from anywhere else. It is. It just is. It's that good, and it's that freaking amazing. So, yes. That'll do it for my more overview than review of the TF-4 flipper from Francois du Toit. And I appreciate anybody who's stuck around, watched. I hope you enjoyed seeing the knife. I love looking at it. just be completely honest, this was just me enjoying my own collection. So, I will see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.